Hey everybody, welcome to beautiful Ecuador. So today we're going to be talking about electric motorcycles, electric scooters. Is it something that you should be buying in Ecuador? What are some of the rules? What are the choices? And you can learn from my mistakes because I've made quite a few in this little journey. I'm on my second one already. The first one lasted about a month. So my mistake was I tended to buy up. I made an assumption that this 2000 watt lithium electric motorcycle would, in its first gear, even though it's not a gear, we'll talk a little bit about that later, but it's similar. It would be fine for going around town and different things, but I sometimes I think I'm all invincible, but I've never driven a motorcycle before. I've only been on the back of a motorcycle once, but I assumed, yeah, I could drive this electric thing, no problem. It was rated to go up to, I think, 85 or 80 kilometers an hour for a distance of about 95 kilometers. So I really liked the specs on it. I'm thinking, well, if we wanted to go to, another town or something, go up to Ayampe or Porto Lopez, we could do it on this bike once I got used to it. Well,
So we bought something new. This is Michael's actual second time ever being on any kind of like motorcycle at all. First time he was on the back with Byron here in Ecuador, but bought this little bad boy. So he's just getting used to it now. He almost wiped out. There he goes. Just trying to get a feel for the whole thing right now.
well, you get this thing, and I'm driving it or trying to, and it has way too much power for me, and power for for my knees, and it's just I couldn't take it out of the little community here in Valais de Olón, in the gated community. That's where we kept it, and I still thought I would get better and better at it, and I gradually did. But I realized pretty quick, and especially, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not. Chris isn't here. I don't think she'll mind. I'll find out later. She got into a little accident with it. She crashed into a fence, and there's blood everywhere. She was fine, but it really, took away her confidence. I think she had more hurt to her pride than it did to, you know, her body, or the bike was a little bashed up a bit, but not too badly. So that was one incident, and I was very close to doing that. If I brought it into town, I'd probably kill some dog or hurt some little kid or something. And so I still wanted this method of travel. I see lots of people doing it. So we bought something completely different, and we were lucky enough that one of our friends wanted something fast, and she drove a motorcycle before, and so she was quite good on it, and it's very peppy, like it moves. And so she's quite happy with it, so she bought it. She got a nice a nice discount because we crashed the thing, and I think it only had like 30 kilometers on it when we sold it to her. So we were happy to get rid of it, and she was happy to get it. And we bought something very different, as you'll see coming up. Now, of course, the big danger with one of these things is that you take it everywhere and you never walk anywhere anymore. And that's what I have to be cautious of. Chris, that's not the case. She loves to walk, and she's in great shape, and she's doing all the right things here, eating all the right food, getting lots of exercise. And I'm not that way, unfortunately. So now that I'm getting older, I can't just take this thing everywhere. So it's really more for, sort of last minute stuff where I want to have some fun on it, or, we want to go into town and do some shopping. You go to the market, you can put all the stuff, on your bike if you buy the right one and zip back. So definitely something that I would recommend or at least consider for a lot of people. Especially if you're living, a lot of us live just outside of the particular town because we want to be a little quieter and not have the noise that you would get right inside of, Alone or Montanita or Ayampe or, wherever you are. And this sort of gets you back into, where all the restaurants are and everything for, a cheap price. Since you're not getting, insurance and licensing and all those different things on it. So this is the electric scooter that Chris and I use now that we purchased. And let me show you a little bit about it and why it works for us. So we'll start right off with the price. This one was $900 that we paid. We bought it actually in Cuenca and had it shipped to the coast here for a delivery price of $79. And if you know the country, that's pretty amazing. Dropped right off at our door here. So basically, all of these are Chinese models, and the frame is usually bought in China by these Ecuadorian companies, and then they put their own little parts in it, which I'll talk a little bit about. And they have these strange names, like this is a Lamborghini, but it is an English electric bike. And there's basically three components to these electric scooters and bikes. There's the batteries, which we'll talk about. There's the controller, and then there's the electric motor, which turns the wheels. Now this one has the two wheels on the back, so it's more like driving a car than it is like electric motorcycle. But it's quite handy for storage. There's storage here, and there's storage under the seat. And you just turn the ignition, and the seat pops up, and you can see there's storage in there as well. And there's a fuse. If something happens to the batteries and everything, goes crazy, then it'll stop a fire, hopefully. So let's talk a little bit about it. You turn these on. Most of these are the same. And you can see it actually starts in park. And they've been 30 kilometers so far in it, and the battery is pretty much charged. And I'm charging it now. It actually charges through here and into the plug-in. There's the charger. So it's at 67 volts right now. But this is a 60-volt system. You can get 48-volt systems and 72-volt systems. The original one that we bought was 72-volt lithium. And really the best battery for these are the lithium ones, but your cost goes way up. So you have to decide whether you're going to get that or not. From the long-term point of view, it's probably better to get the lithium. Now we chose not to get it on this. This was $900 with, I guess, the gel batteries here, which are like, deep cycle batteries, essentially. So what you want to do is charge it after about half of the battery being used. So basically every trip that you're going 10, 15 kilometers, you bring it back, you plug it in for a few hours, and you're set to go the next time, rather than driving these gel batteries right down to nothing. You can do that. The batteries just won't last as long. They'll be done in a year versus 2 or 3. So let's go through it. There's all these bikes, no matter what brand you get, tend to have the three different speeds. They're really not gears, they're just velocity, um, l- um, velocity limiters, I guess is what you would call it. And like a car, the first gear has the most torque, but you get the most speed from the third gear. What's cool is they have all of them I've seen have a drive and reverse, which is neat. And just like a car, they sort of have the standard lights. So the lights are off now, or you can have full lights, or you can have like driving lights in the daytime lights. It keeps track of your kilometers for the trip and also your full kilometers that you've had on the vehicle. So this has gone 30 kilometers so far, so it's relatively new. And then over on this side is your turn signals and your low beams for fog, I guess, and your higher beams at night. We haven't driven it at night yet. A couple handy pockets here, so I throw my cell phone in here, and you can throw a bag that you want. It takes Chris and I no problem, no problem at all. So these are on the lower end. If you get it like a name brand, which I don't think you can even buy in Ecuador, but if you get a name brand in Europe for some of these, then you're looking at, $2,000, 3,000. Whereas here it's really hard to spend. Like if you're spending $2,000 here, you're buying, lithium battery, full motorcycle goes, 85 kilometers an hour, and going for a distance of about 90 kilometers. This little baby at $900 will take you a full speed of 40 kilometers. That's 40 kilometers an hour, and we've tried that both with Chris and I on it. This will do 40 kilometers an hour, so we can take it on the highway here. And you have to understand the culture in Ecuador on the coast here is, even though there's trucks and taxis whipping by you because they go a lot faster than that, there's really no issue because there's so many slower vehicles, slower bikes like this one, people like bicycles, all kinds of things that are on the right hand side. And they all have, I call them bike lanes. I don't know if they were designed to be bike lanes, but the shoulders here are paved on the coast, so it's not like you're going off into gravel if you have to get over. You might be going off into muck, but certainly not gravel. So I talked about the battery, and I guess the other thing is there's a controller. All these have the battery, the controller, and the electric motor. The controller here, there's really nothing. It's like stock Chinese controllers, and that's the intelligence behind, what speed you're going when first, second, and third. It's sort of the brains behind the bike. And for the $3,000 bikes that they sell in Europe, then many of the controllers would be adjustable either through an app on your phone or just through mechanical wiring. So you can actually adjust what's first, second, and third. Whereas here, you get whatever the controller says it is. And for this bike, we're very, very happy with it. For the original bike we had, that was one of the problems. We've never driven a motorcycle before, so when we're in first gear, it was, and it's not a gear, but the first speed on that bike, it was still had tons of power to it. It was a 2,000 watt bike, lithium. This is like a 1,200, actually 1,300 watts. But that bike could fly, and it was built. That bike we paid 1,900 for it, and it was built like a motorcycle. Like it was made to, like, when it has to be made really, really well. This one's more in the, I don't know if I'd call it a toy category, but sort of between the the high-end motorcycle of where you feel, completely safe and everything, and then there's sort of the low end where it's more like you're driving a toy, and this is kind of in that in between, but it has all the features to it. This is the back brake here, and then the front brake is on the other side. And what's really neat is it has a parking brake too, so you can lock it. And you just push that down, and you can lock it here if you're parked on a hill or something, so the bike doesn't go away. Anyway, it's perfect for, right here we're a few kilometers away from Alone, maybe two. And so if you want to go quickly in for a bite to eat and you don't want the exercise, then Chris and I can hop on here, go to the restaurant. Oh yeah, it has an alarm system. Got to tell you about that, and it's kind of cool, which is the normal alarm system that you would normally get on motorcycles. Is you can lock the front. You just turn the key down and do it, and it can lock so these don't move. And then it has a full alarm system. So if someone touches it or something while the alarm is on, just like a car, it'll start making all kinds of noise here. So then you can buy covers for it. There's a cover down there that we got. You can buy them locally, or you can get something on Amazon. If you want to upgrade the battery charger, you can, but we're happy with that. It's not like this needs to charge up so fast. So I think that's like a small 2 amp charger. So it takes like 6 to 8 hours if it's fully depleted, but we never get it fully depleted. So for us, it's more like a 4 hour charge. It gets its back up. And no scratches on this one yet. We did take pretty rough yesterday. We went through some of the back trails with it. It's just to test it to see how it would do, and it was great. It was no problem. And the signals all work on it, and has reflectors everywhere. The only color they had was red. I wish it was not as flamboyant, because we get a lot of looks. Not everyone is used to seeing the three wheel. Yeah, probably I'd like it a little faster now that I'm used to going 40 on it, but in reality it would really drive the price up because they'd have to make it maybe a little better. But the frame is very solid. It's not going anywhere. And some of the things we got to do is I just check all the bolts briefly before we head out. So the cheapest I've seen is $320 for a little 500-watt bike, and they'll go. They're in the toy category, but they'll go 30-35 kilometers an hour, so they'll get you around, no problem. Almost all of them have the tubeless tires, which is great, because you don't want to be getting a flat stuck in the middle of nowhere with one of these. So that's really good. Now, as far as where to buy them, if you go to the major stores that sell, like the department type stores, they tend to be a little bit more expensive. So this one at some of the major stores is like $1,200 versus the $900. And also, if you use a credit card versus a bank transfer, that'll usually cost you an extra $100 as well. But I would highly recommend one of these, whether you're in one of the small beach towns on the coast, or somewhere else. They make a lot of sense for getting around. And probably the last thing we should cover is sort of registration and licensing. So this is, to the best of my knowledge right now, is the beach towns, a lot of the rural areas in Ecuador, there is no license or registration or anything required. Although the transit police could stop you and give you a hard time and looking for money from you and threatening to take your bike away. But those of you, you don't really have to, worry about that. I know the first time probably going through it, it's pretty stressful, but, basically, I wouldn't want to bribe them. I just tell them I would tell them to write the ticket out. And that's what I've heard works the best, is they really don't want to write you a ticket because they're really not stopping you for a proper reason. But anyway, other cities, like I know I think Salinas and Guayaquil, and I'm sure probably Quito, they would have rules around you need to have a license and all of that to drive them on the streets. But the right now it's at the municipal level where the local county can decide what it is. But what I have read and what I've heard is that there is a new countrywide law coming which will require licensing. So you should be sort of prepared for that and go get your license when required. And there's going to have a 6 month leeway that hasn't even started yet. So once we get the 6 month leeway, then we'll know, okay, we got 6 months to legalize ourselves and the vehicle. So everybody, thanks for watching, and remember, live the life you love. We got a lot of interesting videos, at least we think they're interesting, coming up over the next few months. So, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more about what's it like living in Ecuador and some of the interesting and fun things that, you can do, and some of the challenges as well, what it's like living here. Anyway, take care. Live the life you love.